When I stood in front of everyone on that day, wearing the dress I had dreamed of since childhood, I should have felt happiness flooding my chest. The flowers were arranged, the music played softly in the background, and every pair of eyes was fixed on us. But beneath my painted smile, something inside me was cracking. For years, I had carried a secret I never intended to speak out loud. Yet when the moment of vows came, my lips betrayed me. Daniel held my hands tightly, his eyes glistening with pure devotion, as though I was his entire world. He had always been steady, loyal, the kind of man who built his love not on fleeting sparks but on commitment and sacrifice. And maybe that's why guilt had always shadowed me. I had convinced myself that marrying him was the right choice, that stability was love. But deep down, I knew the truth. My heart had never truly belonged to him. When it was my turn to speak, I felt the weight of silence pressing on me. My chest tightened, my pulse hammered in my ears, and before I could stop myself, the words slipped out like venom laced with honesty. "I need to confess something," I said, my voice trembling. "I never truly loved you." Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother covered her mouth. Daniel's best man shifted uncomfortably, and Daniel, oh Daniel, his expression froze in a way I will never forget. His lips parted, as though the air had been stolen from him, and his grip on my hands loosened. The room felt colder instantly. My chest ached, but strangely, I felt a twisted sense of release. For years I had been lying, to him, to myself. And in that fragile moment, I believed truth was better than illusion. But watching the man who had built his future around me unravel right before my eyes, I realized honesty, when spoken at the wrong time, doesn't heal. It destroys. Daniel didn't speak. He only looked at me with shattered eyes, the kind that begged for an explanation, but none could make this right. The silence stretched unbearably. I could hear whispers rising from the guests, fragments of disbelief and judgment mixing with the faint sound of music that suddenly felt out of place. My throat tightened, but I couldn't take the words back. They hung in the air like a curse. Daniel slowly let go of my hands. The warmth I had known for years vanished, replaced by a chill that seeped into my bones. His jaw clenched, his eyes still locked on me. But the softness I once found there had turned into something sharp, almost unrecognizable. For a moment, I thought he might storm out, leave me standing alone at the altar in front of everyone. But instead, he straightened his shoulders and spoke in a voice I had never heard from him before, steady but laced with devastation. "So all this time," he whispered, though everyone could hear, "I was loving you for both of us?" The weight of his words nearly brought me to my knees. My lips trembled, but I couldn't answer. How could I explain that I had convinced myself comfort was enough? That I thought his love would eventually teach me how to love him back? The truth was, he had poured his entire soul into me, while I had only ever given fragments. Gasps turned into murmurs, murmurs into judgmental stares. I could see his family glaring at me, my own relatives shaking their heads. I wanted to run, but my feet refused to move. Daniel, however, didn't hesitate. He turned toward the officiant and said firmly, "This wedding is over." Those words echoed louder than church bells. My heart thudded painfully, not because I lost a marriage, but because I finally understood what I had destroyed. I had taken his love for granted, thinking it would always be there, unshakable. But in a single moment, with a single sentence, I had burned it to ashes. Daniel walked away, leaving me trembling at the altar, surrounded by eyes that pierced like knives. And for the first time, I realized what true loneliness felt like. Not the absence of people, but the absence of the one person who truly cared. The days after the ceremony were a blur of silence and shame. News traveled quickly, neighbors whispered, colleagues avoided my eyes, and my phone overflowed with messages I couldn't bear to read. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel's face at that moment. The disbelief, the heartbreak, the quiet strength as he walked away from me. I tried reaching out to him. I left voicemails, wrote long emails, even drove to the apartment we were supposed to share after the wedding. But he never answered. The curtains were drawn, the lights off. He had vanished, carrying his broken heart somewhere far from my apologies. In the stillness of my room, I replayed every moment of our relationship. The nights he stayed up with me when I was sick. The mornings he brought me coffee just the way I liked. The sacrifices he made without ever asking for recognition. He had loved me in a way most people spend their whole lives searching for. And I had stood in front of the world and admitted that I never returned it. Friends told me I was brave for being honest, but their words felt hollow. There is a difference between bravery and cruelty, and I had blurred the line. My confession wasn't an act of courage, it was an act of destruction. Months later, I heard from a mutual friend that Daniel had moved to another city, taken a new job, and was slowly piecing his life back together. The thought should have comforted me, but it only deepened the ache. Because while he was healing, I was drowning in the knowledge that I had thrown away the one person who had truly loved me. I often imagine what might have happened if I had stayed silent that day. If I had let the vows pass my lips and buried the truth a little longer. But regret is a cruel companion. It reminds you not of what you lost, but of what you destroyed with your own hands. And so my story isn't about a failed wedding. It's about a man who loved completely, and a woman who realized too late that some truths, once spoken, can never be forgiven.